Last night in the fifth inning, Mike Napoli hit a moonshot to break a 4-4 tie and give the Indians a 5-4 lead. The bullpen made it stand up, and the Indians won Game 1 in this three-game weekend series in Minneapolis against the Twins. Can Napoli do it again tonight? Will there be another party at Napoli's in Minneapolis? Indians Live right now. Welcome in to Indians Live, brought to you by your Northern Ohio GMC dealers.
And good evening to you, Al Powell.
Yes, good evening to you, Mr. Lewis.
Hour earlier tonight.
We are an hour earlier. Sunshine in Minneapolis, unlike Cleveland right now.
It is stormy out here, so we would not be playing right now.
And depending where you are in the viewing area, it could be very stormy at the moment. But
Fox Sports Go app, if you're losing the signal.
You could be watching that anywhere. Welcome in here to our Fox Sports studios in downtown Cleveland. He is Jensen Lewis. I'm Al Pawlowski. Pleasure to have you along. Jensen, the Indians have won 9 of their last 11 here, and that's key. They've had big Septembers under Tito. So far, 2016 is shaping up as another big September for the Tribe.
He's already secured another above 500 winning season for the Indians in his tenure, and really it's been about dominating the division this year. They've done that against Chicago, Detroit, and Kansas City. Now they finally got over 500 last night against the Twins.
You know who else has been dominating is Mike Napoli, and in just a moment we'll show you how dominating Mike Napoli has been. But first up, let's take a look at 3 things you need to know heading into the ball game tonight. It will be a bullpen day for the Tribe. Mike Clevenger will get the start, second straight start he's had on bullpen day, but tonight Tito said he's going to have a little bit higher pitch count.
Yeah, I would expect between 50 and 60 pitches. They also recalled Austin Adams from AAA Columbus to further bolster that bullpen. We'll see who follows Clev tonight.
Second thing you need to know, Joe Mauer has absolutely pounded Tribe pitching this year. He has an 8-game hitting streak against the Tribe. He's batting .486.
Al, he's got 22 doubles on the year. 10 of them have come in 16 games against the Indians. He's also hitting .344 overall against Tribe pitching.
Third thing you need to know, Mike Napoli has only 3 hits in his last 5 games, but all 3 hits
over the
have
fence.
been home runs.
And what he's done really in those games, besides the one he hit foul that hit that rooftop LED screen on the cue, he's really come up in big situations. And last night, again, another example of him really answering the bell after the Indians fell into a tie with the Twins.
All right, so we know that home runs, they all count as 1 when it's over the fence. Doesn't matter if you hit it 400 or 500 feet, but it sure is fun watching Mike Napoli launch those majestic blasts. So we thought we'd ask Nap, where did he develop this power stroke?
I mean, I came up and always had some power. But I remember, one day, Don Wakamatsu, he told me to, in BP, try to hit every ball out to opposite field. And, I did it, and, I've always been kind of a hard swinger. But I think from when he told me that, I always practiced, trying to hit the ball the other way, but for power. And, it's just part of my game. And, when I come up here, I'm not trying to hit the ball the other way. I'm trying to, do damage and hit the balls to the gap or out of the park. So it's just part of my game and what I try to do.
So we thought we'd have a little bit of fun and show you the top 5 distance home runs that Napoli has hit this year. And go Fox Vision. How about the one against the Yankees, Chad Green, back on July 8th, 467 feet.
Well, last night we thought he hit one almost as far, but this one, yeah, it almost gets to the same area. We thought last night where this one landed against the Twins and Tyler Duffy might have hit the Budweiser sign back at Progressive Field.
Pretty impressive. That was last night. How about Kyle Gibson and the Twins at Progressive Field on August 2nd?
Well, and all of these you're going to see. You talk about majestic and just the arc of where he's got these balls. A lot of backspin. This one against the left-hander, Boshears. This one goes straight dead center, almost Albert Bell territory, Jim Thome territory, and then just your clean, easy, down the left field line, 433 feet. He's been pretty big in big spots, Al Powell.
That was against Bruce Rondon and the Detroit Tigers. So Mike Napoli's home runs have totaled 13,147 feet, his 32 homers this year. That's pretty impressive, but just how impressive is that? We thought we'd take a moment here at Indians Live to show you. For example, if you convert those feet, that's almost 2.5 miles. To walk from Progressive Field to the Rock Hall and back again, That's about 2.5 miles, just a little bit less. Now, what if you took those feet that Mike Napoli hit total in his 32 home runs and converted those to yards? Well, if he were a quarterback in the NFL, passing yards wise, he would have been 8th from this past season. And oh, by the way, how many Altuves would that be? 2,426 Altuves. That's how far that Mike Napoli has hit in total his 32 home runs this season. So there's no question it's been a lot of fun for Nap, and he set some career highs as well.
He certainly has. The one other calculation we couldn't show you, it's about 2,525 Alpolowskis. So
Oh.
just wanted to make sure everybody knew that as well.
Very good. Okay, use my proper height.
I had to get the ruler out, yeah.
Well, take a look at the party in Napoli's this year. He leads the team in homers and RBI, second with runs and walks. Career highs right now, though, for a season in homers, RBI, and runs scored.
And I'll talk about the home runs and RBIs separately. Number one, the last time he had 30 or more home runs, 2011 with Texas when they went on to the World Series. 90 or more RBIs, 2013 with the Boston Red Sox. They won the World Series. What does all this have in common? You need somebody in the middle of the order. That's what the Indians went out and got in Mike Napoli this offseason. You also need consistent production. He's done that in the power department. You got to be able to hit both left and right-handed pitching. He's dominated lefties at 291, and 25 is 32 homers off righties as well.
And he's got Hector Santiago tonight on the hill for the Minnesota Twins. And I know that Jensen, you had fun talking about Mike Napoli, right? But now we're going to get to your true passion.
Yes.
It is a bullpen
day.
And you are a bullpen kind of guy.
I am.
We will break it down with Andre Knott coming up next. Let's take a first look at the Indians lineup for you tonight, too. Again, with Santiago, the lefty on the hill. There's the right-handed dominant lineup for the Tribe, including Coco, who's hitting 8th tonight and playing left. Cleveland Indian hasn't done since 1995 when Albert Bell did it. Win 2 straight games with walk-off RBIs. The first a sacrifice fly against the Chicago White Sox. Then against the Toronto Blue Jays last night, an inside the park home run to walk it off against the Blue Jays. What's in store tonight here at Progressive Field? Will Naquin do it again? Indians live right now. Welcome in to Indians Live, brought to you by your Northern Ohio GMC dealers. Well, it seemed like we were waiting for this all day today. Everybody around town talking about Tyler Naquin and his walk-off winner last night. A sold-out Progressive Field. It's been sold out now for hours, and a throng of USA fans over here in the corner. He's Jensen Lewis. I'm Al Pulowski. This atmosphere, it's incredible.
We had a lot of people that were excited last night. We got a lot of people excited already today. We got a lot of Tyler Naquin signs around the ballpark.
We do.
For good measure, man.
We've noticed that. Looking for the Jensen Lewis signs. I thought I might have seen one.
Keep rocking on, baby.
I saw at least one somewhere.
Keep rocking on.
Let's take a look at 3 things you need to know heading into today's game as the Indians try to make it 2 straight over the Toronto Blue Jays. First up, leading it off for the Tribe, 7-game lead in the American League Central, 8 games in the loss column over their nearest competitor, the Detroit Tigers.
And it was such a big victory last night because they were able to capitalize on the Tigers losing to Boston. Now 8 behind in the loss column. That's huge this part of the season.
Second thing you need to know, this is the longest Indians homestand of the season, 11 games. Currently, they are 7-2. We'll take it.
Yeah, they'll take it, and they got a chance to sweep the homestand as far as series victories go with a win tonight or a win tomorrow. And I'll tell you what, the way this pitching staff has been going, they got a real good shot.
And third thing you need to know, Progressive Field has become a walk-off wonderland for the Tribe once again. 7 walk-off wins this season.
And it's come at really critical points, and I think against all the odds last night with the way that Roberto Osuna and the back end of Toronto's bullpen, the way they've been pitching, this was the top-rated staff coming into this series. So if you think about that accomplishment in and of itself, it's pretty good. We had October atmosphere last night. We're going to have it again tonight with a sold-out house. But I think the thing to keep in mind, this is a great test for this team moving forward. These are the kind of games you're going to play down the stretch, so why not get used to it, especially with all these fans.
Did they ever leave? It's like they never left.
Some people left, some people changed.
I think some people
they all came back.
Slept here. Here's how it all went down last night in the night.
Gets it high in the air, deep right. Saunders back. He's out of room.
Well, the iconic video, the iconic moment, the iconic still frame. Tyler Naquin, we've seen that all over the place in the past 21 hours since it happened. But that play last night when Tyler Naquin hit the inside the park homer, Jensen, a lot had to happen in the Indians' favor and against the Blue Jays to allow it to happen.
No doubt about it. Let's not forget Jose Ramirez having to tie the game, and that was such a great job yet again in a clutch situation. But let's go Fox Vision, and we'll show you how it all went down for Tyler Naquin. You see this ball, it's got some juice, but it starts to die, and we're highlighting Melvin Upton right there because he doesn't come over to help back up. So Saunders, he over jumps and it goes right behind him. Now watch Upton as he comes over. He loses his footing, and as I told everybody last night, kids, this is why you run the bases hard all the time. That slip and Tyler Naquin not breaking stride allowed him to reach home without a throw, and I think that was so huge in the mind of Mike Sarba because he saw out of the box. Look at Naquin. He thinks he's got it. So does everybody else on the bench. They see it's finally off. Look at how many guys. You got 8 guys on the field of play.
And half of them ran down the third baseline with him.
And they're watching him. Now everybody knows. Now everybody knows he's got a chance. He's coming. They're running with him home. This is like a baton. It's a relay race to home. Look at Lonnie Chisenhall. He's got the water already ready.
The tray.
All these fans right on top. This is a scene out of Major League, the movie. Unbelievable end to last night's ball game, and what a contribution that Tyler Naquin has made this entire season. Back-to-back nights, he said it himself. You don't dream up in the backyard saying, all right, I'm going to go inside the park homer, watch me now. Every kid thinks they're going to hit it over the fence, but he did a great job of fundamental baseball. He stayed running hard all the way around. He picked up Sarby. A great job by Sarby, really understanding that they had a real chance to get him home.
And just building his resume for the Rookie of the Year.
Yeah.
And speaking of Rookies of the Year, we had our own runner-up last year in Francisco Lindor. What are his thoughts on Ty Naquin maybe winning it all this year?
Believing in himself day in and day out. And remember, he did it back-to-back nights. He wasn't starting any of the nights. He comes in, late in the games, does what he got to do. First at bat, he strikes out. Second at bat, boom. He wins the game for us. It's huge. You got to stay positive. You got to stay grounded. You got to stay humble, and he'll be fine.
Let's take a look at some of the numbers for Tyler Naquin. With 84 games, his average is there. His home runs, his RBI, you'd like to maybe see a little bit more, but when you add all the rest of the numbers in, this is probably your American League Rookie of the Year.
Well, Michael Fulmer, who pitched last night for the Tigers, he got shelled by the Boston Red Sox. He's going to be at an innings limit here in the next couple of starts. It'll be interesting if Detroit, if they drop out of this race in the Central and possibly the wild card, they may shut him down. That would give a nice little red carpet to Tyler Naquin. I know Max Kepler's in there, but he's a distant third. Last night, he cemented the front-runner candidacy. If he continues this way, Tyler Naquin's your Rookie of the Year.
When we come back on Indians Live, we'll hear some more of these fans. They are going crazy here tonight already. Plus, Jose Ramirez. What kind of an impact has he had on this Tri-Ball Club? And is he an impact Indian tonight? And is Naquin too? Find out next. And you know, last night was so much fun and so memorable, Jensen. And we saw something last night that was really, I don't know how Francisco Lindor got it so quickly, but here he is on our post-game show. He had a picture already of that moment when Tyler Naquin slid across home and then he reacted.
That's a beautiful thing about technology, Al, right in there. What a moment it was. And, you know, you said it last night. You're going to have posters of that for young kids for a long time.
That will forever be the poster of 2016. So that got us thinking. We had some other great poster-type moments this year. So let's take a look back to some memorable moments and then the still that would go along with it. So June 2nd, a Francisco Lindor triple that led to a walk-off against the Royals. Remember how excited the fans were this night.
Yeah, they were. And how about Frankie Lindor? Again, another great job of base running here, getting into scoring position. That would eventually be the winning run. Yeah, you can see the emotion there. But I think when you look at another one, how about Carlos Santana, the walk-off against the White Sox? You want to talk about a guy,
17.
He was in such a slump at this point, and what a hit to bring you out of it. Walking it off in grand style. Yep, watch out for the water bath and the pounding at home.
and this here was probably going to be the still that we're going to see. This was probably the one that was the face of 2016 until Naquin's last night. How about on the road? June 24th, Rajay Davis with the catch, and then eventually the double play.
Yeah, this was tough because we didn't know if he had it right away. He goes into the screen and then alertly realizes that the runner is so far off, they're going to have a chance to double up. Jimenez does a great job of keeping in front of them. They get over to first and nap. That's your ball game. The very unconventional double play to end it.
How about that? Great still there. So let's go to July 1st. Carlos Santana, the home run. And that was huge. And then, of course, in Toronto, this was the Indians' 14th straight win. Trevor Bauer's hug with Jimenez at the end of the 19th inning. That was a poster-type moment.
Now, I think that was also relief, and they knew that they did so well. Yeah, those guys were tired. They're ready for some bedtime.
And then, of course, last night, Ty Naquin with the inside-the-park home run and the iconic shot that you will see for the rest of your lives as Indians fans. Whatever you think of Tyler Naquin, it'll be what he did the moment after he touched home plate.
This is unbelievable. Every time. I can watch this for a long, long time, Al Pal.
Let's take one more look at it right here. Pitchers and lineups coming up. Indians and Blue Jays on the way. Live is brought to you by GMC. Visit your Northern Ohio GMC dealer for a test drive today. And by WB Mason, official office supplier of the Cleveland Indians. There he is, Trevor Bauer. Pretty interesting motion. We'll see that today at the Oakland Coliseum as the Indians take on the A's. There he is live as we take a look at our picture-perfect weather. Brought to you by Dodd Camera, where the focus is on you.
Partly sunny.
Partly sunny.
Yes.
We're definitely optimistic,
Finally.
as we always are.
All right.
Indians and A's in the rubber match today. The Tribe has already won the season series. They lead it 4-1, but if they can win today, they win this series in Oakland as well. Welcome back to our Fox Sports studios in Cleveland. He's Jensen. I'm Al. Of course, every Wednesday, we like to do our Whiff Wednesday, Jensen. So are you ready for this?
I am. I know who we're going with, so get it rolling for me.
All right, let's start with Andrew Miller, who, by the way, I don't know if you're right-handed or left-handed. Do you have any chance against Andrew Miller?
I don't think you really do, and we can show you the locations here that are just so nasty. And Chris Davis falling down, I mean, that is the greatest compliment as a pitcher. You know the guy stands no chance. Literally, he can't even stand up to swing and miss.
How about Carlos Carrasco here, too?
And what he's able to do, we talk about his off-speed being one of the great weapons that's made him an equalizer, but the breaking ball, that's what's been great here in the second half.
Corey Kluber. I like to call him Corey because it's kind of like
with a K.
That's what he does.
Well, watch where the location is. This is what's made Corey Kluber so dominant for the past couple of years. That wipeout breaking ball, it looks like it's going to be on the plate, and then it just absolutely disappears.
Trevor Bauer, he's on the hill for the Indians today. Are we going to see more of this?
I think you will. And you see against left-handers what he's able to do, particularly against Justin Smoak right here. That big breaking ball is set up by fastball command. Yeah, this one also, too. You'll see a steady diet of what he's able to do on the outside part of the plate, especially to right-handers. He set it up by having great fastball command.
Well, you know what you just did here with Trevor Bauer? You have sold the fans on whom they should select today for their Impact Indian. So it's no surprise, Trevor Bauer, who last Friday against the Jays, he goes 8 innings. He gives up only 2 earned runs. He's been pitching pretty well here. His last 3 starts, an ERA right around 3.5. So today, he is the fans' selection.
And he's undefeated against the West this year. 3-0. 4 of his 6 starts have been quality starts. Been pretty good at Oakland Alameda, too. 2 career starts on the road with a 2.25 ERA.
All right, so that's who the fans have selected. For me, though, I'm going to go with somebody who's really taken to the middle of the Indians lineup, and that's Jose Ramirez, who's become Mr. RBI man. Now, in this series, though, he's 0 for 7 against the Oakland A's. That is unlike him. So I think he's due. He's third in the American League with runners in scoring position. He's been at 381 for a few days now, so he hasn't had the opportunity. Today, I think he gets it against Kendall Graveman. He's 1 for 3 against him in his career. Small sample size, but Jose Ramirez, I think he has the impact for the Tribe.
Well, you mentioned Kendall Graveman on the hill for the A's today. We know what he did against the Indians back at Progressive Field earlier this season. He gave up a home run to Carlos Santana. That's why I'm taking Los today. 24 of his 27 homers have come against right-handers and 48 of his 64 RBIs. So he likes hitting against the righties. He'll be shopping at the gap plenty today. I think he's your guy after he had the game winner on game 1.
I like that. That's very clever by you. Here's our Impact Indians.
Nobody won yesterday.
Yeah, nobody had an impact at all. It was so poor, our selections. We couldn't even come up with one. But somehow you wound up with another number. You were at 37.
I told you yesterday because we were trying to rope-a-dope you a little bit to thinking that nothing happened. But after yesterday,
you rope-a-doping me again today?
we made sure. No, we made sure
You're
the
playing
math
games
was
with
correct.
the numbers, aren't you?
I'm not at all.
See, I knew you were. I told the folks this all season long.
I told you yesterday we hadn't at it because I want to play with your head. Obviously, it worked.
Different
a little
rules,
gamesmanship,
different
Al.
numbers. I'm telling you, I don't get it.
Quit whining.
All right, when we come back here on Indians Live, we have a day at the races.
Yes, we do.
Yes, we like to handicap. We'll have a little bit of fun.
Yeah.
We're going to handicap the pennant race. Indians Live is brought to you by GMC. Visit your Northern Ohio GMC dealer for a test drive today. And by Donald Martins & Sons Ambulance Service, now hiring qualified EMTs and paramedics. Indians and Twins tonight in Minneapolis. Twins have been out of it since, well, April. The Indians, though, in first place in the Central by 6.
Since April.
Well, they have been. Well, they started the season with a long losing streak, and they
Tough
never.
love there, Al Pal.
Just being honest. You know,
right.
that's what we do here.
Tough
We're all
love.
about honesty.
That's right.
He's Jensen. I'm Al. Let's take a look at the starting lineups. First up on the hill for the Twins, Hector Santiago. Just talked about him last segment, Jensen. The Indians this year have had success against him.
I say no breathing room. That's the theme tonight. If you can jump on him early, he will fade quickly. And this lineup tonight, the way it's set up, it is really going to give him a lot of trouble.
Yeah, right-handed heavy, so that's good news. Jose Ramirez, his career numbers against Santiago pretty good, including a home run.
Other guys to watch for: Crisp, about 364 career average, and also Kipnis hitting over 300 against Santiago as well.
All right, on the hill tonight for the Tribe, at least to start on bullpen days, Mike Clevenger. We heard Andre tell us last segment. We talked about he's going to have that longer opportunity today, maybe even longer than we thought because of the Salazar injury.
Back to his roots as a starting pitcher, establishing that fastball in early, being able to go to the breaking ball late in counts, and that will set up for the guys coming in behind him.
All right, here's the Minnesota lineup for you. We always talk about Dozier and Maurer. How about Buxton, who's had a great last few weeks here?
And he hit a missile last night, that 2-run homer to tie the game. You can't take for granted those guys at the bottom.
All right, let's take a look at our GMC on-deck circle. It's brought to you by your Northern Ohio GMC dealers. We'll begin with something. Again, we've changed from pitcher to hitter, 5 and fly.
It's all about runs of support, and when the Indians have been able to score 5 or more, 50 games over 500, Al, the theme of the fives.
All right, as difficult as it is to see Joe Mauer come to the plate against the Indians, we must say, well played Mauer this year against the Tribe.
It is indeed, and what his career average has been against the Indians, pretty good. But how about this season? 344, and it just seems like he has gotten big hit after big hit, no matter what portion of the game they're in.
All right, Jensen, like all the ladies say at our set over Progressive Field, when they see you, that's striking.
That's right. Yeah, probably because of the suit combination.
Right.
But when we talk about the Indians, it's going to be a 157 opponent's average when they have 2 strikes. These guys are very fond of the strikeout, and I think today you can really get into this Twins lineup pretty well.
All right, that's a wrap on Indians Live, but we're coming up in just a little bit with more. Up next, though, it's Matt Underwood and Rick Manning live from Target Field in Minneapolis. Keep it right here on Sports Time Ohio. Let's go down to the field now. Andre Knott has Brian Shaw. Andre.
This might be one of the most uncomfortable interviews I ever do. But it's all right. How you guys doing? Brian Shaw's here with us.
There he is.
Say hi to everybody. See everybody yourself on TV. That was a nice outing you had there last night. What did you have going for you?
Everything. Changeup was real good. Slider was good. Fastball was good. We threw where we wanted, and we got the outs.
Mentally, how do you go through, as a reliever, go through a season where it's so early in the season, and everybody reacts when you have a couple bad outings? Mentally, how do you keep yourself in the same place?
You have to have a short memory down there. Guys, if you give up runs like I have, obviously now, in July, September, when you have a few scoreless innings under your belt, it does, you may go from, a 2 to a 3. But obviously, early in the year like now, it's a little more inflated. So, you just kind of, that it's a long year, you know what you have to do, and you just kind of go out one day at a time and try to get it down.
How much does it mean to have a guy like Terry Francona as your manager that keeps the faith in you, puts you right back out in those type of situations?
Oh, he's amazing. He does a real good job of, keeping guys where they need to be. He puts guys in position to have success. He doesn't want to put anybody into the game to be able to, to put them in a failing situation. So, he does a real good job of that.
Now, last year you had a couple tough outings early in the season. Your mop hour wasn't up. You were trying to do a couple different things in spring training. This year, You're throwing harder than you were throwing last year. It seems like you got more movement on your stuff, and that's saying something for you.
Yeah, it's just I'm not quite sure exactly what it has been that's done that, but yeah, everything's up a tick. Trying to put a little more emphasis on different things on the mound. So, but as of now, it's like you said, it's up a little bit, so it feels good, and I'm ready to go.
How important was it for this team to get off to a great start in April? I know I've heard different guys talk about it, but now that we're about more than halfway through the month, do you guys feel good about how you guys have gotten off to a start?
Oh, absolutely. We've struggled, as everybody's seen, early on the last couple of years, and that's seen what it's done to us, down the stretch, having to play as good as we have just to get to where we've gotten to. So, hopefully coming on strong like we're doing now, will get us into a better spot by the end of the year to be able to make a push and make a run like we had the last few years.
Some people would say you're really not a media person and you don't get along with the media. I got to tell you, this is one of the most uncomfortable interviews I've ever done. But I don't think I'll ever forget it because I can feel you breathing down my neck as I ask you every question.
Yeah, I'm very personable. People just don't like to come approach me, after the games. They're kind of afraid of me for whatever reason. But, we're comfortable and we're, we know each other a little bit. So, it's what it is.
By the way, were you throwing a slider last night?
Yes, it was definitely a slider, not a changeup.
That was not a changeup. So it said up there it was a changeup. Do you know this guy right here, stepping in front? You gonna sit in front of us next time? How you doing, Jason?
He just lost the microphone.
That's called a walk-off.
You know what that is? That's thinking outside the box right there. That's what that is.
I wish we had the camera behind him. I wish we could have seen that.
I want nothing behind me, never again.
Yeah, that was kind of like his conscience, like Andre was talking to his conscience. It was Brian Shaw.
I understand. Listen, I've been teammates with Shaw. I know how uncomfortable that can be.
All right, we'll take our next break here at Indians Live. Andre and Brian, we thank you for that very revolutionary interview type setting.
Revolutionary. Oh, my goodness.
Danny Salazar getting the start tonight for the Trev. We're going to go deeper into Danny and why he's been so good here in the month of April. But first, this day in Indians history, it's brought to you by GMC. We go back to 1910. Eddie Joss pitched his second career no-hitter, defeating the White Sox 1-0 in Chicago. Joss helped his cause with 10 assists. His previous no-hitter was a perfect game, also against the White Sox in 1908. It is cloudy and it's humid, 62% humidity.
I think those guys forgot their suits. I've been seeing polos on them all day.
Oh,
all trip.
Well, maybe they have. That's a very good point. A guy that hasn't forgotten his bat though on this winning streak, Lonnie Chisenhall.
Lonnie Chisenhall,
yeah, he's been hitting the ball very well.
And we'll tell you why. And I think a big reason many people have seen Lonnie early in his career. He's been a great low ball hitter, but now that he's in the zone and really locked in, it's been the balls up and in that he has really demolished. We'll show you here on Fox Vision, particularly against Justin Verlander. Here's where he's usually done his damage. Just a changeup down in the middle of the plate where he's been most comfortable is going down and getting those pitches. How about this one, though? Against Jordan Zimmerman. This is high and tight. Short to it, long through it, as our buddy Derek Shelton used to say. And he gets in on it in a cold zone, you see, where he's usually struggled in the past. Now, fast forward to Atlanta. How about this one? Still down the middle, but up. And he gets this one for the 3-run homer yesterday. What he's been able to do, as you take another look at it here, a lot of pull power. That's no different than what he's usually done. But he's been able to get a lot of extra base hits, and he's added power to his game much more consistently as you see him heating up indeed with the weather, Al. What he's done, nothing short of remarkable. The Indians 16-7 in those games since May 31st.
He's been one of the difference makers in this lineup. There's no question about it.